I'm Joe Yamada, and this is my presentation on averting school shootings. So, since 2000, there have been 152 school shootings in the K through 12 range in the United States. From 2009 to 2019, there were 356 victims of school shooting. So, what's the best way to go about this? After a shooting starts, at least one person is guaranteed to be injured or killed, whether that be victims or the shooter. So the best method to go about it is stop it before it happens. If school shooters are almost always in an unhealthy mental state, and attempting a school shooting is similar to suicide for the shooter in the sense that they feel like there's nowhere else to go for them. That's the only path. It may be better to help these people so they don't turn to violence in the first place. Um, so in order to detect these kinds of people, there are many different signs, but not every shooter is the same. So, across many examples, cryptic signs of loneliness or anger are shown prior to the attack. So, about 12% have very few close friends, and 99% act alone in their shooting. And their loneliness will be generally expressed in either some kind of journal or diary or social media. Hopefully, both counseling services, friends, or family would be able to keep an eye on everyone to make sure they're in a good place mentally, not only preventing school shootings but also suicide. Unfortunately, only one-third of these attackers ever received a mental health evaluation, and less than one-fifth were diagnosed with a mental disorder, meaning that they might not have mental disorders, they were just in a very unhealthy mental state. Although 78% of school shooters have a history of suicide attempts or suicidal ideations prior to the attack, so 78% of them attempted suicide or thought about suicide a lot. It's shocking to me that only 34% were ever given a mental health evaluation. Sometimes it is social friction, so the result of being rejected in pretty much every aspect of their life: family, friends, grades, school, teachers. Others have an extreme superiority complex, or maybe a little bit of both. In the case of the Columbine shooters, they both thought themselves to be godlike figures and above the rest, and that it didn't make sense for them to be rejected by both their peers and teachers and grades, so they just got tired of it. Evan Ramses was an Alaskan shooter who was constantly bullied. They called him names at school, and when he tried to bring it up to the teachers, they told him basically to be more mature about it and report it to the office, kind of thing. And he had multiple abusive foster homes and an alcoholic mother with a father in prison. You would think that someone with that kind of background would get some attention from at least a psychologist or someone to make sure that they're all right. However, despite the large number of students with poor mental health, many schools fail to attend everyone who needs help, often due to budget. And those with mental disorders will need help, and on average, 1 in 5 students show signs of mental disorder. So, with that 1 in 5 statistic in mind, even less students without mental disorders in a bad place mentally cannot get easily accessible help. On average, it'll take them 30 days to get an appointment on a US campus. Uh, if and that's not accounting for school breaks you take. So, for instance, if you put in for a counselor and then 30 days later you're on break, it's not like you can go in and talk to the counselor. So, if the chances of getting help for someone who's looking for help are that low, it is near impossible for someone who desperately needs help, like potential school shooters, especially after we went over how their parents usually aren't the most supportive. So, if they try to bring it up to them, they probably wouldn't listen. So, those who feel that they have no other options and have been pushed to do what they have to do might have a better chance if they can talk to more easily accessible counselors. So even though we can't catch everything and we can't catch help everyone, we should probably be working on this harder. As when it comes to students throwing their lives away to hurt others, it's worth trying even if we can't save it. So improving mental health of students, especially by allowing for more available mental health services, is the best option we have because it will both save the shooter's future and keep them from becoming a murderer, and also all of the victims who may not have had anything to do with it. Gun control laws, no matter what your position on it, are too heavily contested and they're too difficult to change in a short period of time. Whereas this is a more immediate threat and should be solved faster if we can. And I think changing mental health for students, however, can be more easily agreed upon, is less controversial than gun control for sure. And that way you can help these people without much delay. In summary, school shootings are a major problem in the United States, and preemptive mental health checks and more funding to school mental health workers can prevent school shooters or at least identify potentially dangerous people. So, people who are close to the edge, but they may not be able to be helped. You can still keep an eye on them and make sure nothing like this happens. As it stands, students in the U.S. fail to receive psychological help they need in a timely manner, sometimes never, sometimes in 30 days or more. Almost all school shooters show behaviors such as suicidal thoughts or actions, major social friction, and superiority complexes or terrible childhoods, and yet only one third have had mental health evaluation. One life is too much, so if we can save both the victims and the shooter from going down that path, it is the best solution we have. Thank you for listening.